Hey y'all. So we're back as usual. Um with Imani on All Things Deep. So I think tonight I wanted to talk about what I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about um we're gonna move on to part two of unlocking patterns and unhealthy patterns and limiting beliefs. So I think one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I've had in my whole life was I had to be perfect. Perfectionism. So I think that for so long I felt like I had to put on like a facade of who I was supposed to be. Because I think I've really gained my validation a lot from outside of me and accomplishing things outside of myself that made me feel whole and feel accomplished. And so I think that ties in with like perfectionism. But I really want to talk about where that stuff kind of stems from when it comes to me. And I think I even remember like small parts of me being in high school, being young, where I used to have these feelings like, yo, I literally just want to um like make my mom proud. Like I really want to make my mom proud. And I had a lot of that kind of thinking, right? But I realized like that was okay, right? Because I was a young person navigating life, still needing my mother's validation. But I also realized like that was rooted in such a deep craving for external validation, which tied into my perfectionist tendencies, right? So I think the reason why I say that is because my whole life I felt like I had to overachieve or do things a certain way based on what things looked like, right? And how things made me feel on the inside when I did those things, right? And something that I wanted to share with y'all is like I really have been working through a lot of that stuff when it comes to validation, and doing things that I feel like I need to do in order to keep up a certain image or keep up a certain persona. I realize I'm a person of I have a really I feel like for me personally, I have a very very high intuition, and I'm extremely intuitive. I'm very spiritual, and I think that I've always kind of had an innate excuse me. I feel like I always kind of had like an innate intuition and feeling of what I was supposed to do. But as I got older, I feel like those things kind of were made up based on like um how I wanted to feel on an ego level, if you guys are following, a ego based level. But as I started to grow, I realized that maybe like a year or two ago, I realized that those things, a lot of those things that I was really looking to validate me did not validate me anymore. And I realized that I did not want to do a lot of those things anymore that I was diving myself into. Um, I was no longer chasing the feeling of doing things based off of because I was able to. And I started to really kind of like align my intentions with things that feel right, right? And actually no one wants to take a break from a lot of those things. And I think like having those thoughts of wanting external validation, having to keep going, having to be a perfectionist, like I feel like all of those things ties into limiting beliefs and unhealthy patterns, right? Due to external factors, right? But once I started to really let go, y'all, and really let God in when it comes to those things and not really feel like I have to like measure up to something, that's when I started to feel more happy and more content with my inner world rather than having to put up a facade. So I know it's a lot of people on my Instagram that's been following me over the years. And there's a lot of things that I was doing and I used to do that I kind of really pulled back from due to just finding a new sense of like inner happiness and inner balance within myself, but also really like navigating new waters and really wanting to now like dive in deeper into my purpose of sharing awareness and knowledge and teaching about my own experiences. And I feel like this is just lately, this is just what's been bringing me joy. Um, and I just want people to know, like, no matter, something I had to learn, and I want people to know, it's like, no matter how much you pivot, always stay true to yourself. And it doesn't matter what things look like for you. It's what matter what things feel like for you. And that is something that I've learned and I'm continuously learning. And I'm continuously working on trying to align myself and do things with more intention. So stay tuned for part 3, y'all. And again, this is Imani with All Things Deep. Peace.